Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm doing two quick holiday projects as part of Falladay Fest at Splitco Stampers. I'm using stamps from the Ton. This is the first stamp set I'm using, Confetti Christmas. And this stamp set is called Brushed Cheers, and I like it because it's really, really big. And so I just want to do a little background treatment for it. So I'm taking the confetti image and I'm going to ink it up in So Saffron. The color choices I'm making today are actually based on an ice cream flavor that Baskin-Robbins used to have when I was a little kid. It was one of my favorites. And they always had it at the holidays. It was a pink minty ice cream, and it had different colored little teeny weeny round mint candies in it, and it was so delicious. So this is just an homage to what I considered to be the best ice cream on the planet at the time. Now what's cool about this corner confetti stamp is you can just flip it and overlap them, and so you can make sort of a corner frame if you wanted to go all the way around the card. Or I'm just going to have it sort of raining down from the top of my card, so I'm just doing two corners. And again, I'm going to ink that up in So Saffron. I'm using my mini Misty here. This stamp isn't too big for the mini, and I love that the mini just fits on my messy desk. Quick card making. And I actually don't have to overstamp this. It's stamping fine just with one generation of the So Saffron. So I have a nice pale yellow base to start with. I'm going to move on to the other colors, but I'm not going to use the big stamp for this. This stamp set actually comes with some other little different confetti that you can fill in with. And you can see I've left a little bit of a border by mistake. I didn't position the stamp right. I didn't realize it wasn't going all the way to the edge. So having these little tiny confettis is going to help me get rid of that line there as well. I could just cut it off if I was feeling lazy, but I like stamping these little dots over and over again. So I'm just going to go along the edges and sort of fill in some of those white spaces and make that less noticeable. There are two different little confetti stamps. One of them just has a few tiny little dots, and then one is a larger cluster of dots that I'm going to use to fill in with the other colors. And it is allergy season here in Texas, so I apologize. I've had a little frog in my throat on the last few videos, but it's just that time of year. So I'm not going to completely fill in the gap just with the So Saffron because that would look weird, since I'm going to have a mix of colors all around the edges of the card. So I'm trying to make it so that they're spaced far enough apart that it's still random, the effect is random, and also leave enough room for the other two colors that I'm using. And what I'm doing here is just making sure that the actual dot part of the confetti is what's making contact with the edge of that card. And you can already see that line starting to soften, and it'll go completely away by the time I'm done. I love stamps like this that can just seamlessly overlap. That's my favorite because it makes it a lot less easy to make a mistake. And actually, random stamping is harder than precise stamping, I think, because no matter how hard you try to make it look random, sometimes things don't. So if you get a stamp design that helps you, that really helps. Now I started here with Pink Pirouette for the dots, which I thought was going to be a good value match for So Saffron, but it's actually much, much lighter in value, and so I'm going to switch to Blushing Bride, which has the same value pretty much, and is balanced with the So Saffron. Although I will, when the card is finished, end up putting it on a pink Pirouette base to get just that candy pink look that I was going for in my head. I had these stamps sitting on my desk for a while. I've had them for a few weeks at least. And I looked at them every day. And one day, the idea just came to me that it really did look like that ice cream. And I had an image of the colors and everything that were in that little treat. And so I had to sit down and make this card. I do like to leave my stamps out kind of looking at me when I get them. I have an envelope on my desk that has all the newest stamps that I've bought. And I let them just kind of marinate in my mind while I'm doing other things, other projects that are already planned. And then sometimes an idea just comes together like this one did, and I couldn't wait to sit down and make the little candy bubble ice cream. Now this last color is Pool Party. This is a great combo, these three colors. So they work well together, and like I said, they are a similar value, and so there isn't one color that's really shouting down the other colors. So always stamp, if you're doing a combo like this, stamp them out and just make sure they have the same tonal value if you want to do sort of a random background like this. So I'm just going to fill in with the blue, and look how festive it looks. This would be a great stamp to do trees or leaves or anything with, but I wanted sort of a party feel. So I'm cleaning these little guys off. You can see how sad my Lawn Fawn stamp chamois looks. It gets a lot of love every day. And it's kind of magical how the black ink goes into it and never transfers back off. A little bit amazing. Now I'm going to come back and bring the yellow out again, just to add some prominence in places where I had covered it up with the other two colors, and just make sure that the three of these are balanced on the card. And now this is the perfect backdrop for that big splashy greeting that I'm so excited about. This is the whole reason I wanted this stamp set. So I'll put these little guys back. My biggest challenge is not losing stamps, because when I'm working, I tend to take the stamp that I've just used and just stick it on top of something on my desk. Maybe you do this too. Just stick it on the lid of an ink pad, stick it, anywhere. And then I end up with missing stamps. So I'm trying to behave and put these stamps back in the packaging. So now I'm going to put this back in my Mini Misti. This greeting is large enough that I don't want to take the chance that it will not stamp 100% inked the first time, because I've already done the background. I don't want to do it again. And sometimes with bigger stamps, you just never know if you're putting totally even pressure or totally even ink across the stamp. And so you got to have the Misti so you can get that done. So I'll just stick that in the corner. And I'm going to put the magnet at the top because I want this to go across the middle. And this is for a specific challenge for Fall-A-Day Fest, which I can't tell you what the challenge is because it doesn't happen until next month, but it's perfect for the challenge, which is actually going to be one of our card drives. We have 4 card drives during the event, and this one ended up being absolute perfection. So I'm looking at the other the other sentiments in the set, and I'm going to choose the To You sentiment after I get this guy straight. And I also want to make sure it's an even distance from each edge of the card. So I'm looking, if you just sort of look through the printed sheet of the stamp, you can get a better idea of where everything is. So that was just kind of a little cheaty way to make sure that it was even on my card front. I do that whenever my stamps are brand new and they don't have a little staining to them yet, because it just makes it easier for me to eyeball where that image is going to go with the index sheet. So I'm going to ink this up with VersaFine. And oh, I love this one. Has it looks like it's hand painted, so you'll see little brush marks in the stamp, which is super cool. And you know me, I love huge sentiments that go the whole card front. I'm just rubbing that to make sure I got it all squared on there. Oh, that just looks amazing. I love it. Brushy goodness. And then I'll just do it one more time. Make completely sure it's a nice vivid black. Totally crispy. And I like how when you're putting the lid down, you can see if, because, you know, sometimes you move your paper if you're not really paying attention to what you're doing. But I love it as the lid comes down, you can tell if you've made a mistake and maybe not put your paper back in the same place. So there's that. I just think that looks amazing. I wish I could write like that, but that is not in the cards for me. So I'll clean off my big greeting. Sometimes I like to sort of scrub in between the letters just to make sure all that ink comes off in case I want to do it in a different color. Peel that guy off. He's big enough that I don't really have to worry about it tearing. Sometimes I get a little over enthusiastic with my stamps and I worry I'm going to tear them. But I'm going to take the little To You sentiment. I like mixing fonts on cards, so with the nice brushy script, there's a great sans serif font in there too for contrast. And I'm just going to arrange this to where I sort of think it's straight on the card front. It's important to get your cardstock straight first though, so do that first. And then I'm going to align the sentiment, but I'm going to check with the grid on the lid of the MISTI, and I can tell that it's not quite straight and needs to go down just a little bit. I think somebody needs to invent a tool that's very non-stick so that you can position those photopolymer stamps like that, push them around, because I find that they always stick to my finger while I'm trying to get them in just the right position in the MISTI. So why doesn't somebody just go ahead and get that done for me? That would be great. So there's my Cheers to You card, inspired by some minty Baskin-Robbins ice cream. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching.